Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Video Game Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Rose.
And I'm the other body here, Josh Byerly. So great to see you guys. I'm really excited for today. It's a hump day. Time to get after it.
Happy Hump Day.
Happy hump day.
You're excited because you're talking about obscure stuff today.
Yeah, I am actually. I'm really excited. I don't remember the person who threw in the comments something about PAL games, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I'm here. I'm ready to talk PAL NES.
You want to start off with PAL?
No, let's start off with our regular rigmarole.
Okay. We'll come back to PAL. But there's some big announcements. So let's hop into it. And that's probably going to be the title for this. So let me share the screen. I think it's a big announcement.
Yeah, you know how big a VGA fanboy I am, so this is huge.
Boom. So
Boom.
after what? 13, 14, 15 years, they finally have online submissions.
That's pretty amazing.
Woohoo!
I haven't tried it out yet. I'm sure it's straightforward, and you click submit and you send your shit in.
I'm just
So,
click on that. You log in. I've already done this actually. You
oh,
just click that main banner on the CGA website. You log in. If you're not signed up, create an account, and then it goes in, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I really like it. I'm really happy they did this. Mainly because me personally, for my own personal wants and desires, I have computer games I want to grade. I just didn't. There's something that just blocks me about doing the old paper trail and mailing it, and not sure. So I dig this a lot. I think this is a great move for them. This is good for them.
yeah, it's great. It's going to make things a lot easier. In fact, it's going to help push me along to go in and send in this insync game to them now that it's easy to do this because I'm a
Yay!
lazy son of a bitch. Um, and that's just it.
Sweet. So
Yeah,
we'll send one to here, one to CGC, and one to Water.
water bottle. And hell, maybe we'll send one to Player One, Video Game Graders, and IGS while we're at it.
Will they accept it?
I don't know. Maybe
That'd be funny if we could.
let's send them to everybody. I wonder if Dan Allegro would grade one. Hmm.
Hmm. Let's hop in. And then next on the list, and that's pretty big. So shout out to VGA for finally, well, I guess technically CGA, the whole company. Good for them. Certified Link, video game auctions.
Yeah, these suckers end on Thursday.
Yeah, one day. Let's get
One
this.
day.
One
Well,
day.
hot dog. It starts at about 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. So
Yeah.
for all those mental math majors, that's 5 p.m. Pacific time.
They got some solid stuff in here. I threw some pre-bids on here, so I don't want to scroll down too far, but go check it out.
Yeah,
Next,
I'm into it. I need to log in. I haven't been on their site in a while. Oof.
and then next on the list, we'll just breeze through these. Obviously, we just had weekly heritage auctions. Just wanted to throw some notables out there. I thought these were kind of notables. Uh, Pretty strong for a stack up. I know I sold one of these to one of our good friends not too far back for like 800 or 900, and this one went for 1680. So that's pretty good. This is
Yeah,
CIB.
that's a really good price. What's the back of it look like? How's the condition on this thing?
It's got some dents. Obviously,
Dents.
the tab's been pulled off and just pressed back in. It's got some rolling.
Yeah,
So
realistically, that's really common on this game opened. You know,
yeah,
they didn't hold up well. It's a like an NES style box, but big. It's a big Bertha, and
what she said.
it had a tray. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It-
I think this price is solid, but we haven't had a whole lot of public auctions for these. So I just thought it was notable.
it's
So
because there's not a whole lot of these in existence in reality. Stack Up is a rare video game
yep,
when you dial down to it. Like if you're doing a set and you're like cartridge or whatever, this is a tough one to get.
yep.
It's uncommon. It's not like a pinball, you can go out and find a CIB pinball on NES.
Yep. So.
Stack Up and Donkey Kong Junior Math are always the pains on the black box set. So
and then of course I just threw this in here because I love Super Black Bass. Woohoo! 216. Anyway, okay.
Dang, that's a made in Japan as well.
Yeah.
Did you buy that?
No.
Oh man.
I have one. I'd beat this. No.
Sometimes you can catch people slipping on this price in the Majescos like the made in Japan.
I thought it was pretty strong for an 80 A plus, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone likes that bass.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I gotta like that bass.
That's good bass.
And then we have a game that I'm guessing Dan Kaplan bought. This is a Canadian Fortnite.
Is it a Canadian Fortnite?
It is a Canadian Fortnite. Literally. I hope the buyer knew that.
Well, realistically, that's probably way more uncommon than a standard one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's the
straight rarity.
And it's the llama.
The drama llama.
And they didn't put llama up for the first anyway.
They figured Canadian would scare enough people away. It says Stormmaster sticker on the front.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
On the main
or on the in the description.
Oh, okay, perfect. Here,
not on the title. What am I doing? I think somebody on Discord said that this was like a evenly matched heritage auction for WATA and CGC graded video games, and then one VGA game and a bunch of raw stuff. I didn't participate last night because my kid had a pizza party for her soccer team, so I sat down and had a couple beers and ate some pizza and watched a little basketball while they had their soccer pizza party.
By evenly matched, are they meaning numbers wise? Like the amount of CGC video games versus the amount of WATA video games, or were they pricing?
No, I don't know pricing. I think I saw the results of the full auction was $36,000 for the total. I don't know how many items there were in this weekly auction, but I think if you can go to like print the results and it tells you the total or something like that. The total dollar amount. And then you can take the total dollar amount versus the lots there were and divide it, figure out your cost per game. And I've done that and tracked that for quite a while. I'll look at that later, but I think it's interesting to see week over week how things are doing as a whole. Granted, some weeks you're going to get some crazy games in it. Some weeks are going to be a little soft. Maybe this was a little soft of a week. I don't know. I wasn't here for it, but $36,000 for what Heritage has typically been doing, around 200 games a week, is pretty soft.
I thought this was pretty hard for Canada.
Yeah.
And then I think our good buddy Eric finally grabbed a Halo 4 at a good price. So
man, are they ever going to run out of these on Heritage? These kickback Halo 4s?
The 98A plus. That's
honestly at this point it's just mocking Eric every time one comes up. But
well, he might have grabbed this one. It was a pretty good price, 140.
I think I bought one for around that. I have a 98A plus now.
Yeah,
I didn't have to grade a case pack, I guess.
Yeah. Get one, and Eric said if you send him one of these games, he'll sign it for you. Yes. Yep. And
he'll use his left hand. So
and that's it. That was
kind of like how the game was designed.
That was the quick wrap up right there.
Quick,
fast and easy. Fast and easy.
Outside of CGC and WATA and VGA, I don't or outside of VGA, I guess. I didn't hear of any other updates and anything from any grading company at this point. So kind of a stale week. That's okay. Well, PWCC also had some auctions. I watched those. I was able to participate, and I won myself a Team Buddies 98A++ for $504. A couple other games I was pretty happy with. They did have a Star Fox that sold. It was an 85+. I believe it was the one that had come out of Heritage, looking at the comps, and the one on Heritage, I think, went for $3,600. This one sold for $4,000. So a strong result on that. The Team Buddies was also one out of Heritage. I think it went for $1,400 and sold for $500. So not the best result there, but that's okay. I got some good games. I'm excited because I can buy on there. It was kind of painful, honestly, working there and not being able to bid on this stuff. So I'm a participant. I'm a buyer. Still massive deals on there. I think they have a Jordan versus Bird going this week. They're getting some CGC games in. There's some graded Pokemon games there. I didn't see any VGA stuff coming up. So sorry, Discord. Can I say? Yeah, beyond that.
Discord likes the VGA.
Oh yeah.
Down with the VGA.
The DT VGA. DTF VGA. Okay. Anyways, what are we doing next, Matt? We're gonna look at some PAL video games.
What do you got?
Oh my god. Where do I start?
I'm pretty excited. Who is this pizza guy on the front of this game?
This pizza guy? Oh, this is Asterix. European comic, right? Asterix got released only in Europe, right? So there's a Super Nintendo version as well. Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, they had releases of it as well. But Genesis had a release in the US of Asterix. 2600 had a release, Obelix as well, and Asterix. And for years, it was thought on the 2600 that it was not a US release. And then it was discovered that, yeah, they did do a US release, but the guy who made the game, I think it was discovered at like CGE 2002 or 1. I can't remember the year, but he showed up, the designer of the game. Then I can't remember the guy's name. But he had a case pack of NTSC versions in his closet. He's like, people like, this doesn't exist. He's like, yeah, it does. I have some. And so he brought him in. I think there was like a case back that he sold of the game. And since then, I think a few more NTSC copies have come out of Asterix for the 2600, not the NES. Back to this NES version. This is a PAL B. Not every PAL game is going to denote that it's PAL B, PAL A on the bottom. Sometimes you're going to have to get into them.
And what's the difference between PAL B, PAL A?
Realistically, it has nothing to do with video games, but is the video signal that they'll transmit on. You know, we run NTSC here in the US, and there's NTSC-J in Japan. NTSC runs throughout pretty much the Western Hemisphere here. So you'll get Brazil, it's mostly NTSC stuff. It's all about how the video renders and runs properly in your region. So it's region coded, region locked on many things. Master System games are not region locked. That's why calling those PAL is not proper, right? They are essentially region free, but they would be called a European release. PAL is like a catch-all term that people do use across games. Sometimes they'll see a Game Boy game and say, that's the PAL version. People use that interchangeably, but it shouldn't be mistaken that realistically Game Boy games are region free. And I think the better term to call things is European versus US release or Japanese release, or because even within the PAL region, there are regional releases. So this Asterix is PAL B, and PAL B, like I said, refers to the video signal. PAL A is only coded for the United Kingdom, England, Italy, and Australia. Those are where you're going to find your PAL A games on NES. PAL B, yeah,
so
go ahead.
They won't play anywhere else.
It depends. Sometimes some games will play. They'll have graphical glitches on NTSC systems. A lot of games will work in a top loader. You can also cut the lockout chip on the NES. There's online instructions how to cut that.
So it comes down to basically the system you're playing on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're region coded.
Okay, so the systems are set to only play.
Yeah, but they don't always translate correctly to the system. So and Europe got simply some amazing games. They got games like Mr. Gimmick. They got Banana Prince. They got Rodland. We didn't see any of those releases here. And those are going to be Japanese games that got brought over to Europe, but not brought over to the United States. And so some people go after PAL exclusives in 72-pin cartridge format. And so that's what you'll see there when people are like, I only buy European or PAL exclusives that didn't come out in the US because it's the same type of box. Many times it's in English. and it might work on your top loader. So, but beyond all that, it's just really fun shit to collect. There are tons of variants across different regions. Stuff didn't come with plastic. Stuff did. Sometimes it didn't. Sometimes they came in blister packs in France. It's all over the place. There's unlicensed shit. All the Color Dreams games were released there in some fashion, and they work fine. So it's all over the map with European release games. So let's call them European. But Asterix is one of them. PAL B, and you can check which region you have of the game with the flap. So the flap code, this is a FRA code, so France. This would have been the French release of it. And it is in French on the back. Sometimes it's super confusing to figure out which country it came in or came out in. Some of them will say NOE, which is Nintendo of Europe. So it could have been a generic stamp, and it will say NOE, and then it'll be, the box will be in German, or it will just be in English, and it'll be NOE, Nintendo of Europe. And so that would have meant it was distributed within the PAL region, not Italy, not UK, not Australia, and sold in France, Spain, Germany. Those are like the three main markets for this stuff. But if you go even a step further, you get to the point where there's distributor inserts and official distributor inserts. So you go to a place like Greece, and they'll have inserted a Greek instruction manual inside the game, and they'll have a sticker on the box, and that exists in different countries as well, where they may have not got the release language specific for their country, and they'll put a printed manual in there, and they're essentially official. It's pretty cool seeing a life force in Greek. It's cool as shit. But yeah, there's so much of it is for the US market it's not accessible information because it's in a different language. If you speak Spanish or French, it might be easy to track that information down, or German. But still, there's a lot of discovery to be done in it, as far as variants go, as far as everything else. So it's a lot of fun to collect. I've dabbled in it for years. There's some straight insane rarity games like Snowboard Challenge. What is the other one? The
Peter
Ultimate
collects
Air Combat. What's that?
Peter collects all these, doesn't he?
Yeah. He should have all these. Ultimate Air Combat, which I don't think it's called Ultimate Air Combat there. I can't think of the name for it. Does
Braveheart collect those variants too? Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he has all that shit for sure.
Okay.
He definitely has a Snowboard Challenge. And then there's like a Tetris, Mario, and soccer cartridge, like a 3. What is it? Is that right? Yeah, it's Tetris. It's like a triple cart, and I think it was the box for it was only released in Spain, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's really a rare item.
A Mario soccer.
Mario Tetris. It's a cartridge that has Mario Tetris and I want to say World Cup Soccer on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a European exclusive.
Okay, so it wasn't like a special Mario soccer.
There's a box for it too, dude. The box is really freaking rare. A really neat release. I want to say it's Spain. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't have it. I followed this stuff a long time. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of this stuff. I've sold it over the years. I used to have Mr. Gimmick. I sold Gimmick just because it was always worth a lot of money. It's rare. Some of the times people would go and be like, hey, I can't get stadium events in the US, so I'll just buy the PAL copy. And the Scandinavian version of stadium events, for a while, you could find new old stock copies of it, but they're gone now. And it's actually a pretty rare video game, even in Europe. I do have a copy of it. There's also like Devil's World was only released in Scandinavia, and that's a Japanese a Nintendo published first party game, and it was only released in one region in the world outside of Japan, and that was the Scandinavian region. So
That'd be an interesting play to play a game that we never had.
Yeah, that's a lot of people do that. So I know that back in the Nintendo age day, Vince Clemente, Uncle Tusk, he did a reproduction of Devil World. And yeah, I think I have a copy of it here. I'll show you. And it came packaged in a small box.
I was gonna say I probably bought one and I have it in my repro tote that I have tucked away.
I think it's maybe I'm crazy. No, it is Scandinavian. So the box is insane. You know, it didn't come out in the US. I think it had a negative connotation of devil, Satan. But
I don't have that one.
yeah, you can see the box size is significantly different. I can't really get them on here.
That's what she said.
So there's also these European small boxes. So it's kind of a subset people do as well. It's really neat. The European version, they'll say European version on the front. There's also this style of box. There's the Asian version, which is also black with blue lettering on the side. And then the Hong Kong version is more of a purple box, but they all come in these small box size games. So Devil World, really a cool game, kind of Pac-Man-ish style game. But
so that's Vince's re-release.
no, this is a real version. The European.
Okay,
version.
okay.
So Vince's re-release was like numbered to 35 and came in a standard NES size and works on an NTSC console. So this probably works on it as well. I've had multiple copies of this over the years. There's also a Japan rental exclusive box for it. That's a big box. I don't have it here. It's somewhere. I own it, but anyways, that's the small box shit. I can show you more of those. I mean, just so you get an idea. A lot of times they use the Japanese artwork. They did a Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That's the European version. I mean, there's DK Junior Math. So pretty much the run of black box games plus Devil World. And then they had their licensed stuff is all small box. So like they got a Metroid. And the best part about these is there's variations to them as well. What else did I pull up here? The Super Mario, and they're using the Japanese artwork on this stuff. So Ice Climber, the Famicom artwork, I should say. Kung Fu.
That's an awesome cover.
There's a Mario Bros, but I think I'm missing a couple boxes, but I think I have almost the whole set of them. I'm missing a Zelda 1 and 2 box. They have small box Zelda games as well. There's Tetris, Ice Hockey, Cobra Triangle, Super Mario 2. I'm probably missing a couple, but it's a neat subset within the European region to collect. I love that shit. Some of my favorite stuff. Yeah, and beyond that, I mean, I can show you a couple more fun ones. A couple more. I got a stack of this shit. This is Trolls in Crazyland. Never came out. Wait, am I going there? Never came out in the US. The GIAG, I think that's what it is. What is it?
So is this a follow-up to Trolls? Like part 2? Trolls part 2?
No, Trolls in Crazyland is just Trolls in Crazyland. It's own unique licensed video game. Okay. This is the Italian version. There's different versions per region. So this would be PAL A. I think there's like a UK version as well. Pretty rare game. I don't know what they go for anymore. I don't even know what this market's at. Ninja Gaiden in Europe got the name Shadow Warriors. Calling, I believe this is a UK version, PAL A. They didn't like ninjas, right? So Ninja Turtles is Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, not Ninja Turtles. So I think I have a Turtles 2 here. You can see Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Boom. Yeah, and you see the box is slightly different. Also a PAL A copy. God damn. It's all backwards here. Different artwork, different styles. Shadow Warriors. I think there is also a Shadow Warriors where it's not Ryu with a mask. It's just like his face. It's interesting. Euphoria is a fantastic game. Sunsoft release was supposed to come out in the US. It did not. This is a Italian version, so PAL A. When I traveled to Italy when I was in college, This is not my copy. I did find a store that had new old stock NES games in like Rome. They had just amazing shit. And I was a college student, had no money, but I did buy a brand new old stock copy of Euphoria. And I'm sure that place is long gone. But this was like 2004. Yeah, fall of 2004. And so I think I sold that to a collector many years ago. But man, that was fun. Uh, Another PAL exclusive, German language on this is, so this is a PAL B, Banana Prince. Banana Prince.
I
That's what
wonder
they call Matt.
is there any like non-US release that's just epic and fun?
Yeah,
That you know
Rodland, Euphoria. Those are those are great games.
of?
Crackout, Herodias, but a lot of this stuff did come out in Japan. So we just didn't not get this here. Um, just and some of the artwork is unreal. Like I absolutely love this cover. We did not get Prince Valiant in the US, so that's an Ocean published game. And in the US, we got Dragon Power. In Japan, it was Dragon Ball. But Europe also got Dragon Ball. So if you want to buy like the first Dragon Ball game, you got to go with um, the Japanese version
I need
or
to get me
the
some of that.
European version. So maybe there's some other PC one that I'm missing, but for Nintendo, this is what Dragon Power was in the US by Bandai. They did keep the sprites and the graphics the same from the Japanese version when they did it for Europe. So it's really a cool item. I think one I would recommend picking up if you can find one. The
That's
Jungle Book
Europe,
is
European on Dragon Ball.
Mhm. Yeah. And if you're American when you go in the bathroom, Matt, and American when you come out of the bathroom, what are you in the bathroom?
You're still a peon.
European. Okay. Moving along. I'll just show you what we got here. We got Crackout. The Palcom was the Konami version in Europe, Palcom Soft. Okay. Noah's Ark, licensed Konami game. Biblical. Interesting. The Smurfs Die Schlumpf. There are different versions of this per region. This is the German version. They'll have the proper saying of Smurfs in whatever language it is. Here's Beauty and the Beast. We did not get this in the US on NES. Honestly, I've never played that.
How did we not get Smurfs?
No, we didn't get it.
That was
Smurfs
even
and Asterix were just big IPs in Europe and not necessarily. They did okay in the US, right? But we just didn't get a release of it in the US.
I
So
thought that was a decent game on Atari.
yeah, it's okay. All right. Okay, we'll get rid of those. Still got a few more to show. Like to show you comparison here. So we get Mario. See, it's kind of like has the Japanese art, but it's the European version here. It's similar to the small box that I showed you, but it's the big box. And then you will also get this Super Mario Bros. That says European version. To confuse people even more. Europa version. So essentially the Spanish version of it. The flap should say, actually they say NOE-1, but on the flap. Europa version would lead me to believe that this is not Spanish, actually. It's all in German on the back. So go figure. And then this one is coded as the Scandinavian version of Super Mario Bros. So just kind of an interesting difference in within the PAL region, the differences in the PAL games that you saw there.
Are there any US games that crossed over that had any differences in the game itself that you know of?
Yeah, like Contra in Europe was not Contra, right? It was Geysor, right?
Yeah, I like to say Gazor, but yeah,
Gazor, right?
Gazor.
Um,
But
yeah, and in the UK,
was the play different though? Was
Yeah,
any
isn't that in the UK? It was Probotector. It wasn't, and it used robots and not soldiers. So, so the
oh
graphics were different. Yeah, so there's going to be differences in a lot of this stuff. A lot of times they were localized in the US first, and then they were later released in Europe. So Europe was like third fiddle, got everything late. And the rest of the world just got pirated shit because that's how the rest of the world worked, which is fine. That's how people grew up playing games. But there was like European Disney themed NES games that we just didn't get on NES. Like there's Lion King, I showed you,
man,
Beauty and the Beast, there's Aladdin.
what
These
the?
didn't come out in the US. This is a really nice condition one.
We got ripped off.
Yeah. And then like there is the stadium events for all intents and purposes. It is a PAL B down there, Scandinavian. Pretty nice. It's been opened probably once and manhandled. But essentially these were new old stock copies that came from Scandinavia region area. Beyond that, there was also unlicensed releases there as well. Codemasters was pretty much where it was Europe, like it was the UK. Codemasters was a UK company, and in the US, their releases here were Comerica, which is a combination of Canada and America, right? And here's our brand for the US is Comerica.
Didn't we pick that one up down in California?
No, that's one I got from a different guy.
Okay.
But there is a Comerica version of this. But I want to show these cartridges. These are fantastic. They're absolutely insane looking.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You can kind of see the insides. They get a stamp inside the flap. Here's the tray for it. So good luck getting these CIB. If you're gonna buy these, be patient, wait for the parts to come up. Here's the poster, which is also insane. Just really a cool item in the European market are these Codemaster versions of games.
And is that a knockoff of like Top Gun or anything like that, or is it
MiG-29 Soviet fighter? Probably.
it's its own game?
Yeah. I do like Comerica games. I've never played MiG-29 or Firehawk, but I have those two in Europe here. There was one other one that I wanted to show, but I think what did I do with it? Oh well. What can you do? I don't know what I did with it. And then there is even like sub series, and these are kind of a fun thing to collect. We'll go through them pretty quick, but you can see on the front of these they have this little emblem, classic series, and they are sealed with stickers, and they're kind of like a later release subset of the licensed NES games. There's soccer, pinball. I'm getting kind of tall there. Sorry. Kind of cool. Tennis. I think I have them all. And then I have Punch Out over there as well. And Mario 3. Where'd Mario 3 go? It's slightly different cover. Looking at, they changed the background to green. And Mario Bros. Fun fact about this Mario Bros. Is it's a completely unique ROM only that exists in Europe. So when you want to play this version of Mario Bros, this is a way to do it. Probably, I think what they say is the truest version to the arcade port, and there's the additional levels are in it. So European version. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know what the difference is, and all the codes on those are NOE. And in amongst those, there are probably variants that I'm not aware of. So that's kind of a quick and dirty lesson on PAL NES. I probably fucked some shit up, but that's what it is. Pardon my language, man. I got a foul mouth.
You'll give good opportunities for Peter and some of the old school collectors to jump in and say, wait, you forgot about this, or no.
Yeah, Eric will be on there and be like, this is what Ultimate Air Combat is here.
and it's sealed.
Nah, he doesn't have any sealed ones. Some of this stuff just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist sealed because it didn't have plastic on it. Like the sticker games, these later ones here in NOE games, these are interesting. that they had stickers on them to me.
Didn't Robin used to have a bunch of those, and he sent them into VGA, and then they opened them because they're like, we can't confirm this, so we're going to open up and find out.
Yeah.
I remember.
So this is actually a French version with classic Siri on it. The other one was NOE, or your Europa version. Interesting. I didn't know that. Donkey Kong. There's probably a Donkey Kong that's Europa version and not with a French code or some shit. French are assholes, right? I'm kidding. They're fine. It was a Dumb and Dumber quote. Okay. That's what I got for that.
Sweet.
It's kind of fun.
Wow.
If you want to go down that road,
I learned something.
Yeah.
Next up on the docket. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Man, we were looking dapper last week, Matt. What happened to us?
It was short-lived.
18 likes. We got a long ways to 69, guys.
Oh. Did we needed we needed 69 comments, I thought.
Oh, that's not gonna happen, is it? Fuck. Okay.
Well, we got a couple episodes though, right?
Yeah.
We just have to get to this is 63, so we have, 5 more episodes to get to 69. It's possible. We had 12 comments here.
Okay.
If we keep on this track, we'll be there.
Okay.
Barely. That said, let's hop into it. I haven't taken a look at these at all. So let's take a look. Oh, he might have written a novel. Oh, he didn't. Okay. Acid Jaguar, good old Andrew. Congrats on picking up that collector's edition trading card set. I've dragged my feet for too long on those. One day, probably. Great show as always. I know I get Josh all hot and bothered every time I call him and whisper sweet nothings into his cell phone. Little does he know it gets his mom silent on. I've got his mom silent on 3-way, but she won't be silent for long.
Thanks, Andrew.
If I was giving away a prize,
keeping my mother happy.
If I was giving away a prize, he just won. Oh
my God. All right, Mr. Anthony Dean, Tony. Okay, what we got? If you want to add some real juice to this hobby, let's all pitch in to fly Kaplan to a Heritage Live wearing just one sock like a Red Hot Chili Pepper. Yeah, demanding steak and lobster.
I lost my headset. Oh, this is great. Where were these comments when we were having prize?
Oh my God. Yeah. Actually, we'll just send them there like Flea at Woodstock. Nothing.
So, this is great. I appreciate everybody commenting and having fun. That's the idea. So thank you.
Yeah. Man, when my kids watch this when they're older, they're going to be like, holy shit.
What about grandma?
Yeah.
Crispy.
Go ahead.
Crispy AF Collectibles. That pier in the Bahamas is quite the view. What are you doing all the way out there? What
Bahamas?
That pier in the Bahamas is quite the view. What are you doing? Oh, you know what? It might be when I do these and I have all this fun and I put the coordinates in here. He may be.
I've done that too.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just made it up and nobody looks at it. So
that's funny.
That could be
it. I did that one time. I'm like, Matt, what is this?
If I'm wrong on that, Crispy, shoot another message.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go for it, Josh.
Okay. Kivar the Barbarian. That's a name. Love the podcast, fellas. I'm coming out from behind the woodworks in preparation for the 69th episode as your 7th biggest Canadian fan. Wow.
We have 7?
I've been collecting for 3 or 4 years now, focusing on high-grade CIBs. That's the right move. I would be interested to hear more about your guys' thoughts on the CIB segment of collecting, as it's just as cool, in my opinion. Do you think that this is a segment of collecting with good potential for growth, attracting new collectors, as there is generally less barrier of entry, dollar sign wise?
Yeah.
I love the hunt and all the variants that you guys talk about. Information is so key in the hobby. Thanks and keep it up. That's what she said. Nicely done.
Hey, the
Matt,
comments
do you want to answer to that?
the comments are winning today. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You want to comment on that or answer that,
On
or
on CIB.
yeah, like what's your thoughts on CIB?
Let me I would be interested in hear more about you guys' thoughts on the CIB segment of collecting, as it's just cool in my opinion. I love CIB as well. I'm focused on, it's tough for me because I'm focused on filling in holes for sealed. But when I run into CIB, I do not pass them up. And I agree, because I've noticed I've got a lot of games that normally wouldn't be sitting on eBay. I was just talking to somebody else about this today. I think I was talking about to Brian and even maybe Hopper, but I haven't had games sitting on eBay like this before, where they just sit there, and even when I lower it or send offers, they don't sell. But mind you, they are higher. Some of them are higher end sealed games. There are some lower end sealed games. But I was talking to somebody else about CIBs and them selling, and he was mentioning that the desirable, really good condition CIB stuff is still moving. So it's interesting to see how the market's kind of changed. And I would agree. I still buy CIB stuff too, because I love it. Uh, we just tend to talk about sealed stuff a lot. I mean, maybe because there's a lot of buzz. That's a lot of what we're buying. But CIB, I think we don't talk about it as much, but we can, because like, I don't know, I can't speak for Josh anymore, but like my CIB set stuff is all said and done years ago. So I've just got it, packed away in my shelves and stuff. And I don't really think about it as much, but we can. And we can talk about it a lot more. Obviously, in my background, I've got my black box and I covet those suckers. Um, I love CIB. What do you think, Josh? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, me too. I I think it's totally undervalued in
Yeah.
one aspect. I've always thought that collecting is evolution, right? And we're at a point where you and I were like, hey, sealed's cool, let's buy it.
Yeah.
It's another layer of the variant collecting.
Yeah.
For me it is. And it's a challenge too. It's fun.
Yeah.
It keeps the spice alive in collecting, I guess. But I'm still and always will be a mint CIB whore for the rest of time. When I'm saying that, I'm not just meaning like NES and cardboard boxes. I'm meaning like any system that has a mint disc, or a case. Like Genesis is tough as hell, mint CIB. Saturn is insane, mint CIB. Getting a Saturn game that has all of the components, or a PlayStation 1 game that has all the components mint, is actually very difficult. I don't think people realize how hard that stuff is to find mint. And so I appreciate it for that aspect of it, but I also have always gravitated towards the high grade condition stuff. And I am 100% a CIB collector before I am a sealed collector, and I always will be. But
Well,
I do.
Josh, this kind of brings up just a random thought in my head, and I still use it to this day. Like when I'm trying to figure out, it's just a broad gauge, but do you remember when we used to, obviously maybe not so much now, but at least back in the day, meaning like 2010, 11, 12, 13, whatever, we would always gauge what I won't even say perfect, but like a solid quality CIB value. We would always gauge it against, or not always, but do you remember gauging in general, like a sealed game versus an open version? It was always like a tenth of the price. Does that make
Mm,
sense? So if there was like a marginal sealed sale on, I don't know, Turtles, then the Turtles CIB generally the same condition would be a tenth of the price.
Yeah, and sometimes in many cases it just didn't matter. Like there were many times where you could go and buy a sealed copy of the game for almost the same price as, and that still exists today, as the CIB copy. So if you had the choice and you were like condition sensitive and you didn't care if it had plastic around the game or not, but maybe it has some tears in it. And I did that a lot. I opened a ton of shit. Um, and so long as the game was mint, that was my goal and my prerogative. Anybody can set collect, but that's a challenge, right? I admire set collectors. People that are specific about condition and set collect, that's a next level thing, and it's very underappreciated. You're somebody that has a full NES run or a set of this, they're going to have nuances on condition on a good majority of their items. Not everybody, but the majority of people will, because you get an item, you check it off the list, you're on to the next one. You're not looking at making sure it has the inserts. You're not checking to see if the manual has a mark in the back page or it's dog-eared over or it looks like garbage. You're not necessarily remembering that either, unless you're super meticulous in tracking your stuff. So I think that the Mint CIB thing is greatly undervalued across consoles. Atari especially.
Oh,
Mint
yeah.
CIB Atari is just dumb rare.
Okay. I'm going to go back a little bit and say, without outing myself too much, I'm filling in Atari CIB collections right now. So I am buying specific Atari CIBs right now. So
yeah. Speaking of video game news, there was a huge find this week in the video game collecting world, and it was a boxed copy of Air Raid at an estate sale.
Whoa.
It showed up in the Atari Age Facebook group. An estate sale had it in their photos, and somebody found it, and it was in Austin, Texas. Some lucky son of a gun got it before it was even available for sale. They went there, they hustled, they picked up that item. So
wow,
good for them. Kudos to the hustlers out there of the world.
Wow. Is that like
I
the
love that was
second? Is that like the second or third one known?
box wise? I want to say it's probably the fourth.
Okay.
That is confirmed in a collector's hand.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
big
love
deal
CIB.
for that. So,
well, we'll talk a little bit more about CIB.
yep, I love it. I also do love sealed games though. So sorry if we go on sealed tangents and you guys don't give a shit.
Yeah, we do both. Just let us know in the comments when we're going too far. That's what they're there for.
And to make fun of
people. Good old Timothy. Man, if you
TJ.
guys, I don't know if Gamer Stonks is fully out yet, but you need it. You got to get it. And he didn't pay me to say that. Personally, I think Sealed Collecting Group was really niche because it wasn't really known. I never thought to collect sealed. A lot of collecting niches are community driven. So things like Facebook groups, Discord servers, and podcasts help it grow. Insert Matt comment about something growing. Insert Josh comment about something being inserted.
Insert the inserted comment into that comment. Yeah, it is sealed collecting. It always will be niche, mainly because there's not enough sealed product to satiate a market for it, so to speak. There are enough CIBs and cartridges because we already see that exists with the amount of shit that exists online for collecting. So I think that sealed is just, like I said, another layer. But the more that people know about it, the better, because the stuff in sealed condition really is unique for the most part, that it still exists sealed. Even something from 5 years ago that it's still sealed is pretty remarkable. So none of this stuff was meant to be collected unless it was limited run games or strictly limited, some of that bullshit. So, yeah.
Um, oh,
Oh, here we go. Okay, I'll read it. VG Collectaholic, who's a collectaholic, says, I completely forgot about this HA auction. Some really nice deals. Cool seeing the Firehouse Rescue. That was one of the last 10 games I got for my CIV set. The US version of Sega Master System Super Monaco GP is also a steal at 528. That was the very last game I got for the SMS set. That's good to know. Usually
wow.
it's Buster Douglas or when people want to get Sonic, right?
Yeah.
I feel like those are the last games that people try to get. And then they like poo-poo the idea that something actually could have came out in the US if it didn't. And then they go down the variant hole and buy that blue label shit and ignore everything else. But SMS collectors, I got you. On the Miyamoto autograph, you're right. The Miyamoto autographs you see are almost always fake. Known legit ones are really tough to come by. He usually dates them, so I'm not 100% positive that card's Beckett authenticated signature is legit, as it doesn't have a date. The even more insanely tough versions of his autograph to come by are his earlier ones where he signed his whole name rather than just Miyamoto. By the way, this tantric build up to episode 69 is almost more than I can take. Tantric. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's getting another.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get Stifler's mom on here. So, um,
Josh Byerly 6 days ago. First edit. Damn, Eric.
yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a running theme. Uh, I'll do the next one too.
Ooh, thoughts on backdooring?
Brian. Oh, Brian. I have more to talk about Brian here in a second too. In my wins, but we'll get to that later. Great guy, by the way. If you ever do deals with Brian, super dude. Thoughts on backdooring? Are more people doing it than admit it? If you know something was just backdoored, does it make it more okay to slide into the seller's DMs, knowing they're open to that type of thing? Man, that's a good question. All for you, Josh.
Um,
Well, or I can start.
yeah, I think it depends on the scenario. Say you got something for a steal, $400 buy it, $400 buy it now, and then you get your shit canceled. Man, I think the gloves are off at that point.
Yeah.
I honestly do. I think you get backdoored, go to town. Um,
Prison rules.
yeah, I go for it. It's all fair. Um, yeah, it sucks getting backdoored. It sucks getting something taken out from underneath you. But
to me, backdooring is a simple call it what you want, call it foo-foo, call it whatever. You're either putting out positive or you're putting out negative. And backdooring is straight up just negative bullshit.
yeah, it's a
And
little bitch move.
and you need to also not get caught up in it too much because you're just going to help spread that negative. Anybody who tries to justify backdooring is lying to themselves. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect either. I'm sure maybe in the past I did something along. I would never say that I backdoored, but I'm sure way back when I would say maybe there was a case where I pushed a boundary or two, and I probably learned from it back then. But it's just straight negativity, and it's not right.
I think sometimes people come in and they don't quite understand etiquette or how stuff will affect certain things, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, damn, I saw that, I would have paid that, and you're new to the hobby, right?
Yeah.
Shit happens, people change.
I think the thing that ticks me off even more than even the backdooring itself is when people do backdoor and then they just double down and they try and justify it, or don't step up or apologize or anything like that. It's just wrong, straight up. You can, and this is my opinion on it. That's it. It's sad. I've seen friends get screwed out of even fair deals. So we're not even talking like a $10,000 game that sold for $100. even fair deals. I have seen one friend in particular. I'm not even going to throw him out there on this, but I have seen him get screwed over easily 10 times within the last year. He's just damn good at finding shit, and he gets screwed over. And they're not even unfair prices. You know, he's not even necessarily screwing the seller itself. And to be fair, if a seller asks for something and they get it, they get that price that they're asking for. I mean, it's hard to put a complaint behind that. I understand maybe they were uneducated. That's one way you're going to get educated too.
Yeah, well, genuine errors do happen too. Like
I do understand that. I do understand because I've seen that happen too. Somebody listed like, what was it, a Dragon Warrior like 3 sealed for like $394, and it sold right away. But my friend understood that one. You know, he was just like, okay, I know that this is going to get canceled, but at least it gets relisted. You know, well, I forget, it was like 39,000 or whatever, which is what it should have been. That was a clear mistake on the seller part. That's a different story. That's not a backdoor. That's an honest seller error, and they relisted it. Now those sellers
I think even to the point, Matt, like that, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're fine.
To the point where somebody lists something and you buy it now and they're like, they communicate with you and they're like really honest and they're like, I had no clue. I'm going to relist the item and let it run open auction or something like that. Just like sometimes people make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's better to just let shit go sometimes and not push it.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really does. But you'll get your deals eventually. I mean, I got backdoored on a $5,000 Legend of Zelda Link to the Past.
Oh, I remember that one.
I don't even like that was like I was like, should I pay this much for it?
Yeah.
And I did. And then I got backdoored. I'm like, what the fuck? $5,000?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a super nice copy either.
It's yeah.
Eventually people that just do it on the regular, it catches up with them and they'll lose money on something.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Even if they don't, you know, honestly, that's not the kind of life like I would personally want to lead, because even if you get away with it, even if nobody finds out, even if you win, you make a bunch of money, in the end you're not really winning because you're not doing
in the end,
it
you're just going to hell, right, Matt?
You're just not doing it with, how do I put this? You're putting out negative energy to some degree, and you're going to be getting that back. And I couldn't live with that. That's just me. I'm not telling anybody what they should do, what they shouldn't do.
They shouldn't backdoor. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's
another one. If you like collecting video games and you're in this for the long haul and you like doing this shit, another one will come around.
To me, it's almost like
deals.
And I've seen it before now and in the past. What even almost pisses me off even more is when people will oust a good deal after it's been had, just so somebody else will write the seller and maybe make a better deal, even though that person
what
couldn't
my
afford
favorite
that.
The justification and backdooring, my favorite thing about it is when somebody gets backdoored, say a game sells for $400 and it's a good deal. Let's say it's a $10,000 game, gets backdoored, and this happens, right? Gets backdoored, and then come to find out that the seller accepted an offer of $1,000, $2,000, and the justification is, oh well, the seller undersold it, and I gave them more money, which they deserved. But realistically, that person's going to take that and sell that for $10,000. Like, are you really justifying your little bit better offer over a great deal?
They are,
because you're going to make the profit on it at that point. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
What it goes to show is we just have a bunch of amateurs in the collectible space. And if they are business people that do it, people that run LLCs or small businesses, and they do this sort of shit, man, this is a small place. Like, word gets around. I don't know.
Yeah, you are, the video.
I'm not saying blacklist people or don't do business with them, but what I'm saying is, like,
back in the Nintendo age days, man, when you got found out, you were blacklisted, and then people just wouldn't do deals with you anymore. It was an even bigger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just burning a lot of bridges. You're just
Well, unfortunately, it all falls on deaf ears, and those type of people don't necessarily listen to our show, Matt. And there's just shitbags in the world, and what we can do is just be better people than them and not be a shitbag.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but,
I
but
and
back to the
that
question, I think you backdoor people, don't do it. But if you know a deal has been canceled and somebody backdoored the deal, go for it.
yeah,
Scam a scammer, right? Like those YouTube videos where people scam the scammers.
I
Back,
I I
backdoor.
I can think of 6 to 10 people off the top of my head that I will not out that I know are backdooring actively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there are, and that's just what I know from deals that I've seen or been backdoored on. So
Yeah, I think it's just it exists in a lot of hobbies
yeah,
and in
there,
anything in life. Like even if you're buying a car and it's a good deal in the newspaper, and then you agree upon the price, you go there, and somebody's like, somebody offered me more because I had it underpriced. I think this just happens,
yeah.
and there's very little legal recourse you can do, honestly. Like
It,
that's
if
the
you if you miss a deal, you see it, don't get salty. Put out that thought. Hey, somebody awesome just got a great deal. I wish them the best. Maybe someday that could be me. Because when you get that deal, you would just think, how would you feel if it happened to you? That's just kind of my, the old golden rule.
Yeah.
That's all. And
Matt, you
yeah,
do
we're
know what it feels like to be backdoored in video games. So,
on video games. Yeah,
oh,
everybody, all of us do.
okay. Okay,
Anyway, okay,
Blockbuster late
yeah,
fees did not take his movies back. Oh shit, haha, that's awesome. I think that's a response to the uh, geo targeted Bahamas thing, Matt.
I'm lost, but that's okay.
Okay. And then
Uh,
Timmy back for comment number 2. Everyone's sitting here trying to get the first comment when they should just be trying to get the last comment. Hey, Timothy, if you're not first, you're last. So
Log Snacks first edit. Damn, Josh and Eric.
yeah.
Eric Hewitt first.
That's the only
Man,
comment we get from that asshole.
that's it. We
Yeah.
get one word.
You
Out of
see
this.
where we stand with people like Dan Kaplan and Dylan and all these hobby elites. Like, nobody comments. I'm amazed. They're out there making their content with 2 million views on N64 NFR gray cards.
What?
I admire that.
What are you talking about?
Dylan, man.
You
He
got
had like a
2
YouTube
million
short with
views?
like 2.4 million views.
Damn, son.
Yeah, he hit that algorithm like a motherfucker.
Good for you.
Yeah, impressive. So I'd be excited for 200. Actually, I really don't care how many people watch this. I honestly just don't give a shit.
We just do it for fun.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the comments.
Yeah, sweet. So we'll keep a running tally. We have 12 comments. We have what, 5 more episodes to get to 69 comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then then we do the big giveaway.
Yep.
Dan Kaplan's autographed portrait.
All right, Matt. What do you got? What'd you find this
Oh yeah,
week?
and let me stop share. Man, we went off on the backdooring. That's a touchy
Damn it.
subject.
Man, what time? It's time for dinner.
Okay, speaking of Brian with a great comment, I have to thank Brian a lot, and I didn't do it before, so let me do it now. So I know what you're thinking. This isn't video game related, but I don't care. Brian's an awesome dude. So Brian is a big paintball guy. The story behind this is I had this custom made in Salem from a pro paintball player, Dan Bonebreak. He actually had a company back in 2003. I sold it in 2004 like a dumbass, and I've regretted it ever since. Somehow, in the 19 years prior, I attempted to track it down, and I just got dumb lucky about a year ago, posting a message randomly on a Facebook group, and Brian chimed in and he said, "I own that," and I quickly kissed his ass a lot. But no, honestly, he said, "I'm not, ready to sell it. Um, but when I do, you'll be the first to offer." It was about a year later, and he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm willing to part with that," and he made me a great deal on it. Super dude, and to boot, the dude collects video games
No
as
shit.
well. He's been around since digital press, so
Did he? Does he live in Oregon?
no.
Oh my God! And you track this gun down, this paintball gun?
Yeah, he bought it from a collector that bought it from a guy here in Oregon, and
That's insane, man.
yeah, so this made it all the way to Colorado, and somehow I found it, and I went out and I played in the super game with it, that we recently had here, in, was it St. Paul, down by McMinnville. That was a couple weeks ago. A lot of fun. Shoots just as good as I remember it, and I'm super happy and thankful to Brian, super dude, and he loves minty CIBs, so that just plays in everything we. In fact, he just posted in Facebook. He just got back a 9.6 Tyson today.
CIB Tyson.
CIB, and he said, third print, but honestly, a 9.6, who gives a rip?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
congrats on that, Brian. Yeah, super nice dude. If you ever do a deal with him, couldn't be more straight up and honest. So shout out to Brian. Thank you. I love my gun. I love having it back. Even though it's not. But let me get into some wins. I did find some, speaking of digital press,
Oh,
I did get my very nice copies of collector's guides, price guides.
that was like the Bible in collecting, man.
Yeah. So I got two of them, and they're really, really nice shape. I don't know if they've ever really been flipped through much at all.
No, the red one was like the first one real collecting guide I had, and man, my copy is just. I'll have to pull it out one day. It is just tattered, and marked up and destroyed.
So that's the 7th edition.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other one is the advanced guide, so it has everything Super Nintendo and up. The other one only went to NES, and I think TurboGrafx is in the red one.
So what would 1 through 6 have been?
The other collecting guides, yeah, but they're just earlier releases, like editions. But the red one was like the major one that you could go and get.
Got it. And then the only other thing I had, well, I bought a case of games, because Eric sometimes links us to some random stuff, just a bunch of
cool
Modern Warfare for the Mac. Probably not worth anything, but I have a case of them.
That's nice.
I buy weird shit.
You buy weird shit. It's not that strange.
Well, love that gun. Anyway,
what did I get? Got a sealed copy of this NBA 2K11 because I needed it for $12.
Because you secretly love Jordan.
I don't actually.
Did you watch the new movie?
The
Nike one?
No, I haven't. Shoe Dog? I haven't seen that.
Is it not?
Or not Shoe Dog? The yeah, whatever.
Air or whatever it is.
Yeah, Shoe Dog is the Phil Knight book, which I recommend.
The movie is fantastic.
Like, yeah, I need to see it. Here, I'll show you one other item I got back. It's a Sonic for PS3. I got it back, but it is a 10.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. PS3 10.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
That's hard to get.
Yeah, I did a case of these, and I got 110 out of the case. It's fine.
10s are tough, man.
Yeah, I got a 10. Good title. Not a very good game, actually. Pretty shitty video game, but Sonic the Hedgehog in a 10. I'll take it.
Still a 10.
Mm-hmm. I got a Double Dragon 2, but I couldn't find it. I opened it yesterday and I don't know where I set it. So I'll show that next time. yeah,
Sweet.
that's what I got.
Table that doesn't shake. Yeah, Dan wanted to make an early appearance, but after last episode, he was thinking about coming on here, but he couldn't make it because now he's busy taking portrait pictures for a giveaway.
Yeah, glamour shots by Caps.
Glamour shots. Yes. So that might
Hanging out at the JC Penney before they go out of business.
might be busy doing that for a while.
Yeah, this is fun. Thank you.
Man, we really chatted that one way beyond where I thought we would go.
Yeah, weren't we doing 30-minute episodes?
Yeah, this went way beyond that.
Okay, I got to go have dinner. This has been fun. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Love the questions. Love the comments. We're looking for 69. We're getting close. If that stays consistent.
Yeah. If it doesn't, we're just gonna skip 69 and go right to 70. So
yeah, we will not do 69 on here.
We've definitely
with you guys.
Okay.
That's it. Love to hear more thoughts and comments. We appreciate you all. Thank you for staying and listening to us babble about random crap. We do appreciate it, and hope to have some of you on the episode, and hope to get some cool gifts away to some of you in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.
I'm sorry I say bad words too sometimes.
I think I cussed a little on this one too.
Jeez. Gosh.
Brian bringing up backdooring. How dare you?
All right. See you guys.
All right. Later.